This video will show you how to set up your fuel cards in Transport Pro. Please note, our supported fuel card providers are Comdata, EFS, Fleet One, Loves, and TCS. The information that we request from you to set up the fuel card integration may vary a little bit depending on the provider. To get started, please contact us at support@transportpro.net and we'll let you know what we need from you to get the integration going. Once you have supplied the support team with all of the requested information, the next step is for you to add all of your fuel cards to Transport Pro. To do this, follow the path in the menu, Settlements, Fuel Card Maintenance. Then you'll see an option to add different types of cards, for example, EFS, Comdata, etc. You'll select the appropriate tab based on the provider you use. Please note, if you do use TCS fuel cards, it is still either an EFS or Comdata card. You'll want to take a look at your TCS fuel cards and then select the appropriate option when adding the card here in Transport Pro. If it's not clear on the fuel card itself, whether it's Comdata or EFS, then you'll want to contact your TCS representative and ask them if it is under Comdata or EFS. Also note that we do have the ability to integrate with the real-time services for Comdata and EFS only. If you do have a real-time connection with either of these providers, you'll need to alert us by emailing support@transportpro.net so that we can ensure the connection is set up properly. This real-time connection gives you the ability to issue advances to the card at time of dispatch, and it allows you to load settlements to the card at the time of settlement. For this example, I'm going to add an EFS fuel card to the system. Let's run through an explanation of fields. Name on the card. This is simply the name on the fuel card. Card number. In all instances, except for Love's fuel cards, enter the full card number. Note, if you are entering a Love's fuel card, you will need to enter a reference number of your choosing in the card number field. It can be whatever you want it to be. Most customers will enter the truck number tied to the card as their reference number here, but it's completely up to you. Card status. Like anything else in Transport Pro, if you want to use it, it needs to be active. So as long as you're using the card and want the transactions to pass through, make sure the card is active. You'll see your other options are blocked or lost. Note that changing or updating the card status in Transport Pro will not talk to the fuel card provider system and update the card over there. This is simply for your record in Transport Pro only. Account number. There will only be one value to select here, and this is set by a Transport Pro administrator. So when you come in to add the card, if you don't see a value in this drop-down menu, please alert the tech team at support@transportpro.net, and they'll add the appropriate value for you to select. Card expiration. Enter the fuel card's expiration date. Employee number. If the driver assigned to this card has an employee number that you have assigned internally, enter that here. If you do not assign employee numbers to your drivers, you can simply enter any value. This is a required field, but it simply lives on this record for your reference. It does not affect or drive anything. Driver. You'll need to assign the appropriate driver to this card. You must tag the driver here. Tractor ID. Assign the appropriate tractor ID to the card. You must tag the tractor here. Note, when the fuel card transactions are pulled into Transport Pro, the system will run a check to ensure that the truck ID assigned to the card here in Transport Pro matches the truck ID on the transaction, or in other words, the truck number that the driver enters at the pump. If these truck IDs do not match, the system will throw the transaction into a pending status, and you'll need to review and approve that transaction. Internal comments. If you would like to note anything about this card for your team's internal reference, you can enter an internal comment here. Expense account. Tag the appropriate GL account. If you are unsure of which GL account to tag here, please consult with your accountant. Recall, the GL accounts live in the system's chart of accounts, which can be reviewed by going to Accounting, Chart of Accounts, Search Chart of Accounts. Find the GL account number you'd like to tag, or consult with your accountant. Note, even if you're not using our accounting package or general ledger, a value is still required because the GL still gets hit in the background. The next few fields, including max gallons, purchase limit, renew day, one-time limit, fuel purchase, and ATM, are just here for your internal informational purposes. So unless you have the real-time integration activated with either EFS or ComData, then these fields don't really drive anything and simply live here on the record. Charge account. In your installation, you'll see several items to check here, such as additives, oil, cash. Check the items in this section that you want to charge back to the driver, meaning if the driver charges any of these items to the card, you want to deduct it from his settlement and have that deduction automatically pass through to his settlement account in Transport Pro. So for owner-operators, you'll likely check all. Now, when you set up a fuel card for a company driver, it's a little different because you typically don't charge the driver for fuel or other things the same way you would charge an owner-operator. So if this is a fuel card for a company driver, you may check a couple things here in this section, but any item that you don't charge the driver for, leave it unchecked here. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to run a search for fuel cards in the system. Go to Settlements, Fuel Card Maintenance, Search Fuel Cards. Here, you have several filter options. Once you enter any desired filters, click Search. The list of fuel cards you have in the system will generate in a list and show some general information. If you need to review the card information in more detail or make an edit, click on the ID. The other thing I'm going to show you is how to pull the fuel card transactions report in Transport Pro. When the fuel card transactions are downloaded to Transport Pro from your fuel card provider, not only will the appropriate items pass through to the driver's settlements, but also to the fuel card transactions report. Through this report, you can search for and review any fuel card transaction that has been imported. Go to Settlements, Fuel Card Maintenance, Reports, Fuel Card Transactions. There are several filter options, depending on what you may be looking for. If you don't use any filters and just click Search, a list of all fuel card transactions will generate. Now, because I'm in the demo site and we're not connected with the fuel card provider, I don't have any fuel card transactions in the system. But in your installation, you would see your transactions populate. Then, if you need to review a transaction in more detail, you can simply click on the ID. Now, you may have a scenario where some of the transactions end up in a pending status. Recall, in order for the transactions to successfully be processed, or in other words, pass through to a driver's settlement in Transport Pro, then again, the truck number assigned to the card in Transport Pro must match the truck number on the transaction. If the system finds that these values do not match when the transactions are downloaded, then the transactions get thrown into that pending status, and you'll have to review and process them. So it is best practice for someone in settlements to run this fuel card transactions report before doing settlements for the day or the week, and look for any potential pending transactions. You do have the option to filter by pending transactions, so you can run the report this way and see if you've got anything in a pending status. If not, then that means everything was processed successfully. If you do have transactions that pull in this report and show in a pending status, you'll need to click on the ID to go into the details of that transaction, review it, and click to push it through to settlements. And that covers how to add and search for fuel cards in Transport Pro, and also shows you how to run the fuel card transactions report. If you have any questions regarding fuel cards, please contact us at support@transportpro.net. Thank you for watching this video.